Hey guys, welcome back to the Fetting Podcast. Today we had all four of us on the couch chatting about everything to do with money. We spoke about the psychology of money. Should you budget? In our 20s, should you be investing in experiences? Should you be saving for Hajj? Should you be saving for a house? There were so many interesting topics. There were so many different opinions in this episode. You guys are going to love this episode. If you do, remember to check out all of our other episodes and subscribe. Yeah.
So he said that to me. He's like to me, what do you want to do? If you had all the money in the world, what would you do with it? Get to help people. That's so honorable. It's so this, that, that. And he's gene up. All right, like what's the point of all this? Like what do you? Are you gonna offer me a job with a salary? Is there something of value for me here? No, something better than money. What is it? Knowledge. Akaruh, man.
Yeah.
I can't even spell financial.
Yeah, that's a big word. I actually wanted to personally know about what this guy's your financial literacy course, that you're the main man that everyone in Melbourne now sees. Sus, the man. What is it? What do you do?
I see him all over LinkedIn. Well, he's the only reason I got on LinkedIn. He goes Suhail Abdo. I'm not even like, sorry, my hands are clapping. One sec.
We'll get there.
And then boom.
Thank
you. You know that, by the way? Huh? That's a trick to get rid of clammy hands. Rub, and then bang. Because you air that last bit before you go bang into it. You know what I mean?
Work, but I'll give you it.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, I'm not no financial advisor.
Mm-hmm.
Anything we say on this episode as a disclaimer, let's just put this out there right now. This is not financial advice. So if you decide to put money on Bitcoin because one of the boys said that they put their money on Bitcoin, that's your fault. It's not ours.
Uh-huh.
Everything we say here is our own experiences, our own opinions, no financial advice given. As a disclaimer, so we don't get sued. Anyway, we only got like 5K in our bank account, so
yeah.
I wish.
I technically have a couple of mils.
Couple mils of what?
Technically speaking.
Oh, ETH? Yeah.
Not ETH. A couple of like altcoins.
Yeah?
Yeah, a couple of altcoins.
You can't cash them out, but...
I can't now, but I'm inshallah, like I'm trying to be that guy, like it's gonna sound kind of wild, yeah? But do you know like when Bitcoin or like cryptos boomed in 2017?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone in 2017 was like, hey, I wish I was one of those guys that like bought meth in 2011 because that's how they were trading with it. And then like in 2017, whatever was left over turned into 60,000, 80,000 or something like that. So I made, let's just say, an investment during COVID when crypto was at like an all-time high. Absolute bazonkas now, zero.
Bazonkas?
So literally nothing. So inshallah, this is the plan. There's no plan. I can't really do much now. The coins are all worth like 10 cents or something.
Buy meth? Yep.
Not buy meth.
Sell meth?
No, more meth people come into the market. Close.
Invest in meth. That's better.
More people get into the market and give it about 5 years or so. And inshallah, I'll be sitting with 60 Gs like Top G. You know what I mean? And I'm going to ask you, what color is your Bugatti?
We'll see in a few years.
20% tax already. That's it. It all goes to fair income. You can start paying Ahmed.
So what are you teaching your course? What's the course actually? Because last year one of my yearly goals was to not run but help organize like a financial literacy course, and that was a thing that even I spoke to Barissa about like 6 months ago, and then now, mashallah, it's actually like people are doing it, which is the main thing. The goal is for people to start learning, because obviously, as you know, a couple of years ago, me and Wally were big into our finance books. So the main thing is the knowledge gets out there. Doesn't matter how it is.
Yep.
And then now I would actually be interested. I wanted to tag along to one of them.
Yeah, bro.
But
whenever we do one, so it all depends on the audience. So everything's tailored to the audience. For example, if we do it with schools, it'd be something tailored to the year level.
How about uni kids? Uni kids,
you talk to them a little bit more about investments and then what you want to think about moving forward with your life after uni. What happens when you become employed, like full time, while you're working in university, part time. What you should be thinking about putting your money, investing, all that kind of stuff. Like, it'll be very much tailor made. So, like university students, I remember Brother Almir was saying it in the presentation. And for me, Almir is somebody that I look to for advice when it comes to that kind of stuff, because he's an expert in his field. So he was saying to the students, like, you got to think about things from not instant gratification perspective. You got to look at things from where do I want to be and how do I work my way up to it, because we're goal oriented as human beings. Yeah. So he would basically make everybody think about, what's the steps to get to the position of being a financially well-off Muslim. So for us Muslims, we know that we want to get married, we want to have kids, we want to be able to maintain a home or purchase a home, inshallah, in the future, as it's become feasible for us nowadays. So he would tell you, like, okay, so when you're saving or when you're thinking about saving, you got to set minor targets on your way to that, so that when you get married, you have enough money for the nikah. When you have a child, you have enough money for that. When you're about to purchase a home, you have enough money for that deposit. Like he speaks to certain other people in the past that he's worked with that have done it at a young age, 23 years old, bought a land. By 25, he'd build on it. By 26, 27, he was married, and the guy ended up being okay after that. Does that make sense? So he was just speaking the way you should be really thoughtful about how you're spending your money now, early on. So when you're 27, 28, you don't think, it's too late. I should have already done all this stuff. So
does he teach you how to manage the money? Like, does he give like a template? Like, for example, you get paid $1,000 or $500, whatever. Like, does he say how you should?
So that's kind of falls into the category of financial advice, which you need pretty much a license to be able to do that. So
you can't just
you can make suggestions, or you can say, like, my opinion is, and what I do is, and that's about it. But whenever it comes to financial advice, you need to legally be able to give that. Otherwise, you're liable for whatever happens to the person and their basically their finances.
You can be sued.
Yeah, 100%.
But how do you? Not that this matters anyway. But let's just say you tell me, you're like, go invest in that crypto.
Yep.
But there's no record of you telling me to actually
you
say
need
except
record.
verbally. Okay, so
but if there's witnesses, obviously in the room, there would be like 5-10 people or 20 people.
So the financial literacy course is teaching you terms, and then giving like a timeline for how you can achieve whatever your financial goals are.
Showing you there's possibilities. Does that make sense? So it's outlining the base, so you're able to capitalize on the base, move forward. You know what I mean? So a lot of people don't understand what the term investing means. A lot of people don't understand where to invest, how to invest, what's the best way to find a good investment product. They'll look at the guy in the nicest suit or the shiniest badge or the best car, and they'll go, okay, this guy definitely knows what he's talking about. He hasn't studied once in what he's saying. So, and he seems to be a Muslim, or he seems to be an honest guy. So I'm just going to go along with what he says. And it's been obviously to the detriment of our community in the past. On a number of occasions, there have been people that have gone around promising people a certain percentage on their investment, and people are like, wow, that's unbelievable. Guy delivers it every now and again and then disappears with the money. So there's obviously, as they call in the industry, cowboys and sharks that obviously manipulate the goodwill of people within our community. So it's just being able to be wary of, and we had it on Talah's ep as well, the Talah Yassin. He brought up the fact that if something seems too good to be true, then it is. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to investing. Something seems too good to be true, then it most likely is. Like, remember ACN back in the day? Remember when everybody
Network
Mm.
started
marketing.
investing in
Have you seen the pyramid scheme?
pyramid schemes, the
Yeah.
Ponzi schemes? Yeah, all
I've
this
been in multi-level network marketing. I've seen one. This guy remembers.
How did you
I
go?
didn't try to get anyone involved.
How was it?
That's a long story. We can delve into more. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember which one was it.
Maybe we were in.
Is it uni days?
Yeah, I don't know. I remember telling you about it when we were in, like, maybe it was Geelong or something.
Yeah.
One next to or water. One day we're just sitting on a pier
I remember that was Geelong. You had a game.
at a game, and then I was telling you about it. I didn't try to sign anyone up,
Yeah.
but I had a mentor and stuff. So there's
That's how they get you.
so it's actually interesting. My one was more like
Delve into it.
yeah. So there's the pyramid schemes, which is, for example, how you make your finances, but then it's how they get you in. So some people get you in finance only. This is the only thing we do is finance. My one was more business mentorship. So we get you in, we teach you self-development, we teach you about life, and then one part of it is obviously getting your finances in check. So for example, a rule a day was like read 20 pages of a book, listen to a podcast a day, and I'll give you stuff to listen to. And then it's like, okay, weekly would have goal settings.
Was the book Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Nah.
Okay.
They have a whole book list. I can send it to you. But I've read like a couple of different good books because of it. But it was like finance was one part of it. And they sell you the mentorship. So it's an easier thing to see. It's like, okay, they sell you the mentorship. Then it's like, okay, we do also have multi-level network marketing, and that pyramid scheme. How do you get your money? You get people to sign up and
then
stuff
you
like
become
that.
a mentor. Then
But it's
later
actually,
on.
I did it for 3 months.
Well,
Okay, maybe 3 months. It was like an 8-week process to get the vetting process, and then I got in. Boom, you know.
you're a G,
And then I'm like, okay.
Life changing.
But the thing is, like, the organization they used for the money stuff as like a 3-month return policy.
okay.
So technically, I lost like $60. So,
Oh,
but the
okay,
lessons
yeah.
I learned was actually very good because now you can someone can say something and I'll know straight away. Network marketing, pyramid scheme, like a lot
Was
of
that
people.
like with the meetings and that? Did you have?
Yeah,
Did you have a
Yeah,
convention? Is there
Nah,
like a
there
bunch
was-
of people
there
that
was
just get
conventions,
G?
but I never went to it because it was all around Australia.
Zoom calls.
But it was
I've been to the conventions. I think one. I don't know if it was ACN, but it was the same sort of scheme.
Wait, did ACN get everyone?
ACN got a lot of
This-
buses.
ACN got a lot.
There
But that was
there
older
similar-
than mine. When I was in year 11 and 12, the uni kids
Yeah.
were getting into it.
Bro, ACN was the funniest, yeah.
Mm.
So,
No, just saying there's similar companies like ACN, but ACN I think was the bigger one.
yeah.
It's the same concept, right? Like
Yeah.
the convention.
But no, but you know they come back. It's ACN, but they come back like later on in a different form.
Another
Down the
name.
line.
Possibly,
Yeah,
yeah.
different name.
BCN.
But guess what ends up happening is, so you know how, for example, when everyone got involved into ACN,
Yeah.
everyone that was older told you, don't get into it, it's bull. And you're like, no, it's not. This, that. You know what I mean?
Trump is on it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This guy traveled to Kenya. You know what I mean? He's got all this money,
Yeah.
And then you end up becoming that for the younger generation. You know what it is? It's exactly when the internet first came out. And you know how everyone had a computer in their room? They're like in that living room that your dad always used to be on and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then you go on the wrong website. Then on the website comes up that scam that says, oh, you're the lucky 1,000 blah, blah, blah winner. Your mobile phone came out. You know, remember them ones?
Yep.
And then after you go to your mum, tell her, let me put my mobile number inside there. And
Yeah,
you're like,
'cause
how
you-
can it be they told me I'm the winner type of thing? But obviously your parents know better. That was literally what ACN was in a nutshell.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I remember my uncle was very weary. He looked at me and looked at a couple of my relatives as well. He goes, do not put your money in this. It's something called a pyramid scheme. We looked at him like this. We're like, bro, we don't even know what a pyramid scheme is, to be honest with you. But if you say so, khalas, no worries, I won't put my money in it. So, because my uncle was a businessman, he knew what he was talking about.
But they also know how to, like, I would ask, is this a pyramid scheme? And they'll know the right answers to
Of
make you
course.
not think, especially when you're 20. Like, it was during COVID, maybe I was 20 or 21. Like, you're inexperienced. Like, I was never working full time at that time.
Yeah.
Like, you don't understand the world and how to make money. So, it's that thing where it's like, it's like get rich quick. You can get rich. This guy became a millionaire a year or whatever in 4 years. So you're like, damn, I love that idea. And you meet people that are like, I'm financially free at 30. And it's like, damn, I want to be that.
That's the thing.
And that's what they get you, yeah.
This was before we all knew FouseyTube was faking pranks. See, this is the thing, yeah?
This guy
Nobody
loves
understands, yeah? No one understands, bro. Back in the day, we were so innocent. Like, we didn't actually understand the landscape of how people would lie. Like, for example, now, influencers, yeah? You know, they do influencer marketing. Like, the initial phases of influencer marketing was, okay, I don't care what she says or what the product is. If Kim Kardashian says this is good, even if she's selling me dog poop, I'm going to go get it because Kim Kardashian said it was good.
Shit, yeah.
And now people are a lot more switched on. Like, okay, now we can
There must have
decipher
been a big
whether or not
deal,
it's
yeah.
full of crap or not. Yeah? So what happens is, back in the day, we were a lot more innocent, yeah? So they chuck Donald Trump's name on the thing. They go, oh, yeah, Trump does it. And they were very smart in handpicking the right people in each community. People who had stature, who had like credibility within the community, they picked them and they go, okay, you push it and we'll pay you the money. And then those guys, basically, they influence, they spread that I'd say cancer
Yeah.
through the people in the ranks,
Yeah.
which is crazy. Because then people would go with this guy, bro, trust me, you're going to make a lot of money. And then they rock up to like this massive meeting and there's about 50 paid actors. And they have the background music, and then everyone's like, are you ready to make $1 billion? Yeah. They're all getting G.
You want your dream car in 6 months? It's like, bro, that's
The
what
whole
got me,
crowd's gone.
Yeah.
I had a funny meeting with one of these guys once. I worked at a startup, a tech startup back in the day.
What?
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah, I actually did well. I worked intern for a bit and I kind of sat down at this place for like
you're like
3 months.
Ryan from The Office now.
I was a temp, bro. Yeah. So I was sitting down and having a discussion. This guy was very nice. I'm like, why is this guy so nice? As I left, the internship finished. He hits me up on LinkedIn. He's like, bro, we need to meet up. I think you're a very strong-willed and you seem like you're switched on. You want to be an entrepreneur and you got the right stuff for it. Let's meet up and have a chat. I'm going to bring my business partner from Queensland. He's coming down just for this meeting. I go, oof. Yeah. Business partner from Queensland. I asked him, what business does he have? Oh, he has 2 bars in Queensland. All right, let's meet up. So I don't have a clue what this is. It's like early 2018.
You have nothing to lose either.
Yeah, I don't even know how LinkedIn works.
Oh.
I'm like, bro, this guy's giving me an opportunity, yeah? So this guy comes in, he goes, listen, we've handpicked you. You know how many people we could have handpicked? We picked you. I go, oh, thanks. He goes, I want you to do me a favor. He gets like like those post office parcels, slides it on the desk to me. He goes, you need to finish reading this book in 1 week, and we come back here, we have another meeting, we'll have a conversation again. And then you're going to be ready for this.
Same thing.
Open it.
Did you get hit with that?
Twice. I've done. I just remembered another memory. I've done it twice.
No way.
Yeah.
Open the book. I was hoping this guy's on the front cover.
It was Cash Flow Quadrant, that book.
No. This guy goes. He's on put Rich Dad Poor Dad in front of me.
Yeah, but which Rich Dad Poor Dad? That's what I remember now.
The purple one. I don't know which one.
Okay, doesn't matter. Yeah.
So he said that to me. He's like to me, what do you want to do? If you had all the money in the world, what would you do with it? Get to help people. That's so honorable. It's so this, and he's geeing up. All right, like what's the point of all this? Like what do you? Are you gonna offer me a job with a salary? Is there something of value for me here? No, something better than money. What is it? Knowledge. I got ruh, man. Don't call me again. I go, listen, you want your book back? He goes, yeah. I go, okay, here, take it, bro. I'm done.
That's why. That's why when we started Rich Dad Poor Dad, this guy wasn't taking us serious.
That was the first finance book I read.
Yeah. I didn't open it after that, bro. I was like,
it's actually a decent book.
Probably a good book.
It's actually a pretty good book.
Really good book, actually.
Yeah. The thing about finance is there's so many different things to actually discuss. Like even in a literacy course, financial literacy course, you can't teach everything in one day. Like you can literally do a whole podcast on how to manage money. And then what
circumstances are different too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's what people don't understand. Like I remember Almir was bringing up the fact that people, they all want to invest in something that gets them rich quick, something intangible like stock or Bitcoin or whatever it is. And he's like, I prefer to invest in, and he says it for himself. He was like in the podcast that we had with him, I prefer to invest in something tangible, something of value, something that impacts the community. Yeah. Something that I can see the fruits of the labor of the people who I'm investing in is in front of me. So, like for example, a small business, or like a pharmacy, or like some people even invest in like doctors' offices, like you know what I mean, like medical centers. Yeah, they put their money in the development phase and they get a return
off that.
But
I remember Almir said like invest in things you can control. But I think that's where it's like people get sold on the idea of get rich quick. You know, that's like, especially people in their 20s, they want to have, like, 20s is the period where you have good health, abundance of free time, no money. And what happens in your 60s? Abundance of money, even free time, bad health. Yeah. And in your 40s, abundance of health, still pretty good or decent, good money, no free time. It's just different periods, and we always crave what we don't have. But obviously, like, Alex Hormozy, we were sending each other to his account and stuff. He says for every single, like he's made over $100 million. He goes, every dollar I'll make from today, which will probably be $2 billion. He goes, I'd give it away just to be back in my 20s. He goes, that free time that I had, that luxury of doing whatever I wanted, I'm never going to have that again. Yeah. And I read a book. Do you remember Millionaire Fastlane? Ali Abdaal says his favorite finance book. And it talks about like, obviously how to become a millionaire, and it says like there's such thing as get rich quick, but no such thing as get rich easy. And that's what people think it is. So you get rich quick, you can become a millionaire in minimum 7 years. He goes, that's his timeline. If you're disciplined and you put all your free time in it, it'll take you 7 years to become a millionaire. It's like, but then even that idea, it's like 7 years.
It's a trade-off.
You can't work you're working weekends. Every single day when you finish your shift, you're working. It will take you 7 years. You're like, I thought it was easy where I just invest in one stock and I'm a millionaire tomorrow. Yeah, it's like that's not how it works.
And that's where you have to ask yourself, what's it really for? Like, is that what I'm trying to do? 7 years of like so-called grinding, that extra bit, just to get to that point, and then you might get to that point, it's like I'm burnt out, or maybe it's not what I want to do.
Yeah. I think it would be good for us maybe now, because we're all in our 20s, not married, married, can talk about our financial goals in our 20s, because then it gives people to listen. Like, for example, some of us might be Like for example, me, I personally in my 20s do not want to think about a house.
Really?
Like I
Yeah,
can
me
put I
too.
can put money aside for a house, but as 24-year-old just married, it's like abundance of free time to go travel, and I want to do Hajj before I get a house.
How about kids, bro? You know what I mean? This is what I'm saying. Like, you know, if you don't do it in your 20s because you don't have kids yet, it might be a little bit more difficult down the line to actually end up purchasing a home. Is that something you're willing to trade off? You don't want to
Yeah,
own a home? You don't
I'd
care?
love to own a home, and I want to own a home,
Yeah.
but as a 24-year-old, I don't want it to be my main concern because I feel like as soon as you get a house or you invest in a house, firstly you use most of your savings, which is fine.
Yeah.
And as soon as you get a house, the number one financial goal you should have is pay off the house quicker.
As soon as
For example,
possible, yeah.
principal, just keep paying off that principal so you can pay it off quicker. But what happens when you're going for Hajj? Hajj costs 40K if you want to have 2 people now. You know, when do you get to travel if you want to go backpacking or live overseas and all this stuff? Like in my 20s, I'd rather wait until I'm 30 and invest. If I invest in a property at 30, I feel like that's young to
Okay.
invest in a property. You know?
I don't know. I just feel like, see, the good thing about a house is if you decide to go to Hajj, for example, or you decide to go somewhere else, and you want to travel for a year or two, or whatever it is, the beautiful thing about owning a home is you can actually rent it if you wanted to. You can end up making money off of the house that you actually own.
You won't really own it in 5-10 years there. So you won't really be making money. You'll be paying the mortgage back.
No, but
won't
yeah,
you?
you're paying. No, but this is the thing about the house. So as soon as you sign the lease, you basically own it. Do you know what I mean?
True.
Not the lease, but the actual the mortgage. As soon as you sign that contract, that's underneath your name. It's yours. Khalas, that's it. But the thing is, yeah, and this is something that I learnt along the way when people brought up the pros and cons of owning and not owning a home. Some people are like, yeah, it doesn't matter about your portion of dunya, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, no worries. Like, I remember Almir brought it up in one of the things. I'll keep referring back to Almir, but he's like, I'm learning a lot from Allahumma barik. Some guy asked in the crowd once, he goes, what's the point of ownership if, like, we're going to die anyway, we're travelers, we should be living on this earth like strangers? He goes, if the Sahaba own their camels, they rent them. They go, oh, okay. He goes, I can even refer back to the story of Uthman, radiallahu anhu, in the well, where that guy and him were having a dispute about, he started to charge people to actually come and drink from the well, obviously paraphrasing here. But then Uthman goes, okay, I'll buy the well off you. He goes, no, I don't want to sell it. He goes, okay, how about this instead? I'll buy half, I'll own it half, I have it for these many days, and then you keep the other half, and then you do what you want on those days. There's no problem. So Uthman ended up making it free those days, and the guy ended up getting run out of business, so he bought the rest of him, told him to leg it. Yeah? So the beautiful thing about that is when he owned it, he actually had the capability to do what he liked with it. Does that make sense? When you rent a house, or when you basically don't own the joint, you don't have a say in what happens to you. Does that make sense? I know that there's like rental agreements and so on and so forth, but if after a year the guy goes, yeah, your lease is done,
Khalas, yeah.
figure out another joint.
Okay, how about this? You're 25, you invest in a place, yeah? At 35, your goal is to pay off the house, obviously as soon as you can. You don't have to.
Yep.
You can do your 30-year loan and pay it off in that 30-year period. But then how it's going to be difficult to save 40K to go on Hajj, and you need a new car, and you want to take your kids to private school, or your wife stops working. Like, it's only going to become harder. So I feel like these other things like Hajj and whatever, do it earlier.
You know, the beautiful thing about life is there's no wrong or right answers. Yeah. So if somebody decides, bro, I only want to rent for the rest of my life, I'm not actually interested in ever purchasing a home. I just need somewhere for me to have a roof over my head and a place where my family can, settle for a bit. And then if I have to shift, I'll shift. No worries. I don't mind.
It's subjective, yeah.
Yeah. Bro, some people genuinely could live like that. Okay, no worries. Yeah. And then there's some people that go, I don't feel martih means rested. I don't feel rested in a place not knowing whether or not I'm allowed to stay here the next year, whether my kids have to move schools or have to do this or have to do that, and it's all contingent on the landlord. Like, obviously, I'm not going to discount Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is obviously the one who writes everything, and that there's tawakkul involved in all of this process, but you also have to tie your camel. You have to ensure, from what I understand, you have to ensure that these issues or these situations can't occur if you're not equipped or ready for them to occur down the line. Does that make sense? So you have to be aware fully of what these decisions mean for you and for the
Your
pretty
dependents?
much the people that you live with. You have to understand or be fully aware and be okay with that. Because if something happens, you can't go, why me later? Because you made the decision. Does that make sense? And when you make a conscious effort to actually live a certain type of lifestyle, which I'll bring it to that the book that you guys loved, the 4-Hour Work Week. When you design your lifestyle, when you choose how you want to live, you can make decisions accordingly. You can go, okay, now I never wanted to actually stay in Australia or Melbourne as my one place. That's it. I want to try out different places, and I want to test the waters in different countries. I want to be able to go and do A, B, and C in my life, bro. There's no problem at all. But you have to understand that there's a trade-off. You lose that possibility of being able to do
Such and
own
such.
a place, have a place called home, and like
Security.
if that's something you're happy with, exactly.
Yeah.
If you're happy with that, then no worries. But some people want it all, yeah.
Yeah.
They
That's
want
why you got to be intentional.
yes.
That's why being intentional comes into play.
Do you want to own a place? What's your goal? Like, what are you thinking?
Me, bro, I'll be honest, there was like a period of my life where I was like money, like early on, yeah. When I say money, it's like, okay, cool. How can I make money? How can I do this and all that kind of stuff? But I've been in a phase for the longest time where, and I kind of like it as well, where it's more, let me like enjoy as much as what I have now, which is basically like free time. And obviously that means other things take a cut, you know what I mean? Down the line and all that kind of stuff. And as a result, I don't have to like focus on, or at least I don't miss out on certain like opportunities. Do you get what I mean? Like I don't mind going to, let's just say we went on a holiday. I don't mind going to that holiday with $100 in my pocket, yeah, then having to work every single day. Like the concept of working every single day at the end of the year, getting 2 weeks off, yeah, isn't like sort of in like my sort of like realm, you know? So going back to what Sue said, it's like, you know that if you commit to this sort of lifestyle, then something else gets a trade-off. But like sort of with that, I've started to realize that a life with money makes everything 10 times easier. Do you get what I mean? Like you can live on like the brink where everything is like, alhamdulillah, like I've been blessed with this and cool, whatever. But then after, there's times where you're like, okay, cool. If I had a bit more to do that, then it would have made that like a little easier. But then it's also the concept that like, because I remember there was one time, I think it was maybe when I came back from, from my trip, where it was like the longest period where I wasn't earning money, yeah, away from like my work and whatnot. And obviously like my income stopped for a period of time. And then after I was like, damn, like, because up from that moment, up until I first ever got my job, I've always had a stable income, you know what I mean? And then like that first 2 weeks or whatever back, now I'm becoming super conscious with the way that I spend money. Like a cup of coffee at Macca's is a big deal. It's not a massive deal. Like, relax, I'm not broke and shit. Like, chill out, yeah. But at the end of the day, it's like
You start to feel the effects more though.
100%. You start to realize if you get the pods from Woolworths and there's 10 in it, you get 10 coffees out of it for the price of one coffee from Macca's.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
You start to think like that, adding them out.
You start to become like more conscious and stuff. But with that, go.
There's something interesting. I remember I was listening to Freshly Grounded. He had a podcast with, I think it was Sam, and he was speaking about some rich guy that he had spoke to in the past. And the guy goes, like, there's things that I won't budge on. Like, for example, you know how we buy soap that's like a moisturizer soap or whatever it is, the one that's in like the liquid form.
Yeah.
He goes, I'll never buy it in liquid form. He goes, there's no way I'm going to purchase that. I only get 100 uses out of that. But instead, I'll buy the bar of soap. He goes, and I get 1,000 uses out of that. I won't budge on that. That's one thing that I won't budge on. Like, I know where to spend my money. I'd rather find clothes, like upper echelon clothes like Dior, whatever it is. And I understand that value appreciates over time than to be somebody who spends money willy-nilly on everything. And so he goes, you pick your battles and stuff.
Conscious spending.
That's
Yeah.
that's a bit, yeah.
Have you heard of Ramit Sethi?
No.
You know,
He's
yeah?
a legend, yeah.
You know Ramit Sethi?
No, I don't know.
Okay, you guys should. He's got a podcast, he's got a book, and a Netflix show that just came out, all called How to Get Rich. Indian guy, yeah. And then, but his Netflix show just came out like 2 months ago. He took like 10 couples that were going through different financial problems, and then he kind of just taught them.
Oh, Netflix, yeah.
Hola chicos, ¿cómo están? Okay, now got your attention. Pause the video. If you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button and enjoy the rest of the video.
But he pretty much says like how to get rich. It's like figure out what your rich lifestyle is.
Yes.
Some of you it's clothes, some of you it's this.
Yeah.
And he goes, what people don't understand is they're like, oh, I don't want to go buy the Starbucks coffee. I'll make one at home and save $3. But when you're buying a house, when you're buying big purchases, which is in the thousands, they don't try to budge and save money there. So you could literally like bargain a deal at the dealership for a car from 16K to 15K and save $1,000. And that's equivalent to 500 coffees, a year and a half worth of coffees. And he goes, that's what you got to figure out how to.
I always put it in family burger boxes from KFC. Yeah? Family burger box costs how much?
Like 25 there?
$29.95.
Okay.
Yeah? 4 burgers,
Yeah.
2 chips, popcorn chicken and nuggets.
Okay.
That feeds about 2
No
3
drinks.
lebos, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, 1 lebo,
One level.
2 or 3
and a half, depending on-
average human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah? So if you and your missus eat once a day, $29, you don't have to eat any more calories the rest of the day. You're thinking about it through that. Carlos, you make your decisions.
Good luck
based
to
on
your
that.
future wife.
Straight up. She's going to burn.
No
Yeah.
nutrition whatsoever.
Yeah.
Family burger boxes, mate.
But it does come down to being like more intentional with your spending, because I thought about it in terms of like the money's gonna either accumulate like by saving, you know, in terms of I save, you know, spending coffee before work, spending my dinners, where it can go the opposite way, where it's like if I'm just spending for no reason, next thing you know I've overspent like $200-300 in that 1 week of like eating out or like shouting the boys and stuff like that. So it can go either way if you're not conscious.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, one thing that was actually interesting that I think Ashraf brought up to me once back in the day. I think it was like making minimal goals based off of the paycheck that you get. So, for example, we're in lockdown, yeah? We're getting the job seeker payments, 1,100 we knew that were coming every fortnight, yeah? So what I used to do is I used to go, okay, right now I'm sitting at 1,100 to begin with. That was my first paycheck. The next one's coming in. I need to ask myself, what do I want my goal to be? So if I say I want 2,000 by the next paycheck, I can only spend 200. So the goal is, so when I get the next paycheck, I have an extra 100 or 200 or whatever it is. Maybe I say 2,500 after the next pay. So it's kind of setting those little minute goals so you don't go past. You remember you were telling me
Yeah.
about it?
Like never go under at all
Yes.
costs. Yeah. I have a rule, never go, like now with my wife, I keep a lot of my money at MCCA and stuff. And I'm like, I never go, what's it called? I never go over 5K with my wife. All my other money goes into like my main savings account. If I get anything ever, it's just keep sending it to savings. Because you got emergency fund, like $1,000 there waiting if anything happens. And savings, I don't need as much in my local savings. I just keep putting it in my,
Yeah, definitely.
in
breaks it.
your,
You know, that's the good thing about like those books. You know, like everyone goes, oh, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Like it's just one of those cliche books everyone's read, blah, blah, blah. They're just trying to sell you a life that's like you can't attain because they're rich and whatnot. But I think the best thing about Rich Dad, Poor Dad is the fact that it taps you into a sort of like world that you didn't see from because you never like knew any better.
A different lens.
Do you get what I mean? Like, for example, like I remember where I was when I was reading this about like the concept of the rich using tax as a way of like getting a return on their money and whatnot.
Yep.
Whereas before, the way we saw tax was just that essential.
Well, you
You
gotta
pay
pay
it.
it.
You got to
Big
pay it.
problem,
Let's just
yeah.
get it off our shoulders and all that kind of stuff. Whereas like Donald Trump will use that, for example, he'll intentionally have coffees and write it off in regards to tax, or he's playing and like, you know, those like little concepts in regards to,
Those little hacks. Yeah.
yeah, like that knowledge that he teaches you. So then later on, it's like, okay, I can actually do this. You know what I
You
mean?
know your full capabilities with what you got.
Mm.
No, it's for sure. Bro.
yeah.
That's something that we have to understand. Because if you don't understand the landscape of what you're working with, bro, how are you going to be able to, you know, pick those little pockets and you know, profit off them and be a little bit more smart and wise with your money. Like those, I remember we're just talking about books now. I just realized that. But
Wait, you go back to the 4-hour work week. I was curious about that though.
yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
going to touch on. So one thing that he said in the book that really like sparked the way I thought about money, because for us, it's usually, bro, shoot for the dark. You just want to be a millionaire, yeah? As soon as you're a millionaire, you're financially free. Calm, no worries. I just need to be extremely rich and then all my problems dissolve, yeah? What we do wrong is we believe that there needs to be a certain amount of money in our bank account and it has to be in the millions in order for us to be financially free. But he goes, hang on a second. Why don't we just reverse engineer what it looks like to be rich, how we would act and how we would, basically how would we live our life if we had like unlimited money, yeah? What would we do? And then start reverse engineering our lives and understanding how much exactly we need to be able to live that lifestyle. So he'll go, for example,
I see,
I
yeah.
want to go on a holiday once a year. I want to go on a holiday once a year. I want to own a home, and I want to be able to eat out once a month with my wife. Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah? And go, okay, no problem. Reverse engineer, calculate how much that would cost over a year, and then figure out how much a salary you need per year to be able to function in that lifestyle comfortably, yeah? And then I go, okay, hang on a second. SubhanAllah, like, if you work a job, yeah? If you work a job, you actually, like, you don't even need that much money. Like, your salary doesn't even need to be that high in order for you to have some sort of a enjoyable, sustainable life.
Did you attempt this experiment?
Yeah.
What was your number?
Me?
Mine was.
I'm not going to lie to you. This is just the calculations, not something that I'm actually doing. It's, I think, 100. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to say it because employers in the future, if they watch this,
Is it all you
they're
need?
going to limit it, yeah?
It's like when you said
We'll
this.
bleep it out. We'll bleep it out.
Bleep it out. But
Okay. Because you literally list anything like I'll get a new car every 3 years. I'll go on a holiday every 2
Oh,
months.
so
I'll
very
eat
specific.
like list everything.
Okay.
Guess the like put numbers next to it and then how much it would cost. And really, to live Ali's life as a millionaire, it's not that expensive.
It's more of a shock, right? Or a
Yeah.
reality
Like
check,
even
but
if you
it's
go,
like, I don't
I'll
need that
rent a
much.
chauffeur. I have a private chef. It's like okay, private. If you get someone to prep all your meals, it's $250 a week. It's not that much money.
Wow.
Like really, if you look at it, you're like okay, you know.
Wait, but have you guys always thought there's a certain like X amount of number before you feel like you're rich?
no. For me, when I was younger, anything above the million.
Was a rich
So
to
a
you?
millionaire is what you're aiming for.
Mm.
As soon as you can say, I'm a millionaire, khalas, that's it. That means you're good.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah, a millionaire doesn't mean anything.
Which isn't
these
true.
days.
The millionaire means own a property. Doesn't mean anything else.
It doesn't mean nothing anymore. Yeah.
So that's what it was. We were working off rough estimates and not understanding quite exactly what it was that would make me feel free financially.
Yeah.
So what it is specifically that I, like, for example, yeah, I only recently got a new phone. I had my old phone for 7 years.
You get the 15?
Yeah.
Yeah, again.
So I had my old phone for 7 years. And to be honest with you, if it didn't slow down, I wouldn't have changed it. If my laptop at home didn't slow down, I wouldn't have changed it. Like, wallah al-azim, they're not things that I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get. And
Like
every
each
year I
year,
want to
yeah.
renew. So it's like, I don't even have to consider them expenses. Like, or something that I would be concerned with, that if I was rich, I would do A, B, and C. Because it wouldn't be crossing my mind. Like when it comes to sneakers, for example, or shoes,
It's a different ballgame, yeah.
yeah, I'd go, okay, I would probably want one every 5 months. And then I start looking at the shoes that I got and I'm like, I only got 2 feet.
Yeah.
But then again, like you can still have that thing. It's not too bad because like Ashraf was saying, you can still have that rich life. That what Ramid Sethi was saying,
Exactly.
and at least you have that. Then everything else, you're a bit more in line and more. I would say more intentional
Exactly.
with how you spend your money. So it's not too bad. It's like guilt free.
But it's a hard thing for yourself to discover because sometimes like your friends are around and your friends are really big into shoes and then you're like, I don't really care about shoes. And then or fashion trends, like there's different things like, oh, and then that's when you just have to kind of understand. It's like, if you really love traveling, you should save money for traveling. You shouldn't be eating out every single day
Exactly.
and, buying clothes every 2 weeks. Like those things aren't important to you because they're not making you more happy.
Yeah.
And that's really what it should be. Your money should be going towards things that bring fulfillment in life.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know?
right, bro. That's how you should see money. Exactly. In
Yeah.
exchange for goods and services that can enhance your quality of life.
Are you guys like when you make money, for example, you make 1,000 a week, whatever, are you putting a couple hundred each week into investing or is it more saving for a house? Like, are you thinking, okay, let me put money in stocks,
There
or
was
let me put,
there was a period of time I was doing that.
'cause I'm straight saving. Yeah.
For a house?
I'm straight
For-
advised.
Like those stuff, yeah. Like house overseas.
Well, I'm being serious here.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
for me, it is general saving. Like, alhamdulillah, I got my first like full-time gig, yeah. And I'll tell you honestly, the first few months, I could start to catch myself out and getting excited, like you get all these ideas, like, oh, I'm getting more money now. What can I buy? Oh, I'll buy the new iPhone, or I can buy a new pair of shoes. But then it's like, then you really got to ask yourself, because it's hard, because all this excitement, you're getting all these ideas, like, I want to do this and that. I can travel more maybe because I'm making more money. I can save more. But then now I'm asking myself about like, how much do I want to save per week? How much do I need to spend in terms of expenses? But it's mostly general savings. Like the investing thing, I haven't really taken that step yet.
When I got my first full-time job before we got Almir the first time on, and I asked him, I said, should I invest? Because a lot of people say money in the bank account is just sitting there, and it's not doing anything for you. It's doing stuff for the bank. Obviously, I'm like, that's stupid. What, the bank's making money on it? I'm not. Then I asked Almir. He's the only person I've asked, and he said, if you're gonna invest in stocks, leave your money in stocks.
Yeah,
if you're gonna invest your money, if you want to save for a house, something, then just save it. Don't invest in stocks, and a year later pull it out to get into a house, and then you just keep mixing and matching your money. So right now, because at least I don't have disposable income, like I don't have extra income that can't go towards anywhere. All extra income goes towards the house money. True, but if you have a house and you're paying off your principal, then it's like, oh, my extra $200, I'll invest it. So it's a bit different. Yeah.
Yeah, and for example, some people wouldn't put the 200 into an investment product. They'd put it back into the actual the house, so that in the future, whenever they're trying to pay off their the remaining balance on the house, it's paid off quicker over time, which means that they pay less in the long run. Does that make sense?
With fees and all that stuff, yeah.
Exactly. So it all depends on what you want to do. Like, I've started, obviously, because I work at a financial firm, obviously started investing the money that I've got into into different avenues. But yeah, I think not putting your eggs into every basket was something that I took as advice from some people that were in the industry.
What type of things, like, it's because sometimes like stocks get a bit confusing. Like I know there's index funds where everyone says put your money in index funds. That's where we'll get. Yeah, like for example, the top 500 companies. You put it in there, but then as a Muslim, a lot of those companies are unethical, not halal,
Sharia compliant.
Yeah, so it's like, what did you do? What you do? Oh, you don't care. Bismillah.
No.
Win-win.
I do,
Money's money,
but
baby.
I'm conscious. Yeah, I'm conscious of revealing too much. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's more where you got your knowledge from. For people, it's like, okay, did you watch YouTube videos? And that kind of made you, like, for example, all these books, we read it to make Ashraf's opinion or Wally's opinion or your opinion. So it's more like, okay, I asked people of knowledge.
Oh, no, I watched, I've watched a couple of different YouTubers. I obviously take everyone's advice with a grain of salt. I feel like, and they always tell you this, it's like you invest in things that you're most comfortable with. So if you feel like later on you're like, why did I put my money in that? Like, for example, some people put their money in Qantas, and they were comfortable with whatever happens, because they're like, okay, I feel like this is the right thing to invest in because of A, B, and C. Not just, I want a good return. Like, they actually like messed with the brand and what they do and stuff like that. It's like, okay, now this is a more informed decision. Now it's something where you can go, okay, even if it's starting to go down, I can hang my hat on the fact that I'm still enjoying, or I'm happy that I'm involved with or invested in this organization because they do something that I really rate or that I myself appreciate. So that's something that I'm conscious of when I invest as a whole, because then later on I can go, okay, but then I can't blame myself because I'm like, okay, I invested in this and they were doing good work, they were doing khair, they were doing A, B, and C, and I'm like, okay, no problem. Whatever happens, happens. Kullu tawakkul ala Allah, yeah? Now it's like, I've done my due diligence, I put my tawakkul on Allah, whatever happens, happens, the return, all that. And you can be conscious a little bit more. It all depends on your risk appetite, yeah? True. Some people want high risk, high reward.
What's yours like? You're a risky guy? Risky for the biscuit type?
I'm in the middle. It all depends. The right opportunity has to occur, but
we don't have that much disposable income. Like, that's the thing.
True,
like, you're supposed to actually, it doesn't really matter on your income. Like, so even if you only have $100, like some people like, I invest at 100. Like, I'm willing to keep reinvesting in my business, But it's a hard thing, man, Like, even understanding like your risk is written. So you might invest $1,000 in something and then it doesn't work out.
It seems like it's foolproof, yeah? Like, somebody will tell you, like, for example, Tesla stocks have never been better, yeah? They went up recently, or they shot up a fair bit, Allahumma barik, over the last whatever amount of months or year. Some people are like, okay, it's a given, khalas, I put my money in that, it's going to keep going up. Whatever happens in the future, like somebody goes, oh, okay, now we're just doing nuclear-powered cars, whatever it is. Yeah. And it sounds wild, I know, I got no clue about the industry, but somebody does something else that's more revolutionary than what Tesla was doing, and Elon Musk or something like that takes a massive hit in his personal brand, because obviously Tesla is majorly marketed as Elon Musk. Yeah. You know what I mean? Majorly marketed through their owner. So if, say, for example, he does something like they did to Kanye, like they just completely wiped him off the face of the earth, him, Andrew Tate, you know what I mean? And then your stock gets a massive hit. There was no surefire way to explain or understand why it happened or how it happened, but it did. Khalas.
Yeah.
And I made a conscious decision to put money there, and it didn't work out. But that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written that, and I can accept that. It's like when you make a conscious decision, it's a lot easier to go, okay, khalas, I can accept it, I can move forward from it. But if we can't accept it because we don't understand it, and you think that everybody in the world is trying to screw you over, then you might need to do a little bit more research before you start putting your money in places, because that's probably the most essential part of all of this. You gotta do your due diligence. After you've done your due diligence, everything sits well with you. From an like, don't go next to anything you don't understand. Don't ever invest in anything you don't understand. Don't ever go near anyone you can't put your finger on. You know what I mean? Like it's very simple, like stranger danger kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think it's better for just people to have the mindset of like investing in themselves, or invest, because like that's the thing where it goes back to Almira's advice, like invest in something you can control.
Yeah.
But then it's like some people are just working 9 to 5 and they don't have the goals to start a business or something like that, or co-own a business, or it's just like, you know,
It all depends on your lifestyle, bro. What you want to live, how you want to live in the future. Where do you see yourself in 10 years, 15 years, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had permitted it? If you had enough money to be able to do what you wanted, what you want to do, you work towards it, bro. That's pretty much how I see it. I know it makes it sound a little bit more simple, and a lot of people will be like, life's not that easy, you know, I work at Coles, I'm a checkout chick, whatever it is. No worries, like it's calm. Like, figure out a way to get out of your situation.
but most people as well, most people aren't financially successful in their 20s. Like, you have to understand, a lot of times it's you're in the knowledge acquisition phase,
Exactly.
and wealth building happens more in 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Like, if you look at percentage of wealth that increases, it's normally like after 40.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it's like you just got to trust the process, you know, invest in yourself and stuff like that. Because wealth acquisition and wealth accumulates so much more 40 plus, what do you guys think the balance should be? Or what's your guys' balance between saving and spending in your 20s? Like, are you pretty frugal, or are you like, no, invest in experiences? Like, see how you said.
I'm very frugal, bro.
Yeah.
What's frugal mean again? That's
like conscious of spending.
Do you know what those
taught
words?
us, yeah.
Nah. So the opposite of what that is basically.
Like a conscious spender,
no,
and you're a super saver. Like, you know, like not super saver, but you like to save first.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I'm not. Certain circumstances have made me a conscious spender, but I'm not frugal with my money, if that makes sense. It's just that every time money goes out the bank, now I have to be conscious of it. But then after, I'm still the first to be like, hey, yo, let me just spend. But then I get myself into a predicament where it's like, oh shit, I probably shouldn't have spent that. Do you get what I mean? But majority of those times, I'm willing to take that on the chin. Do you get what I mean? Because I'm a big believer in that whole like it is what it is. And it's a bad thing, because that it is what it is. I know myself personally that it is what it is going to go, like, depending on what I want in the future. If it is to have like a house, like we'll go on early on, if it is to have a certain business, or it is to have some sort of savings for like a rainy day, you know what I mean? I might not have that. But the thing is, I've made that conscious decision where it's like, it's a conscious decision where it's like, I'm so on vibes, yeah? That sounds so cliche, but like I'm so on vibes that like if someone was to say, hey yo, let's let this happen and let's travel there and all that kind of stuff, if it means that it might be a bit strict, it might be a bit stingy and all that kind of stuff, I'll find like a way to make it work. And if it's within my means, like I won't go out of my way to go borrow $10,000 when I know I can't. You get what I mean? And one thing I hate more than anything is debt. You get what I mean?
Yeah, it's the worst.
But some people though, they're naturally like able to put themselves in debt, and then after they don't know like the ramifications of it down the line, you know, where it's like, okay, I've got myself in 10,000, but it's like, but you've got 10 other $10,000 debts.
Yeah.
So it's like, how you keep that stuff on block. So I know like my safety, like sort of like spending. But the thing is, I know that's only for a certain period of time, you know what I mean? Because considering my life situation right now, I'm single, like I've just wrapped up my studies and all that kind of stuff. You might not have this time again. Do you get what I mean?
Sure.
And I'm in a fortunate position where the job that I work, I get consistent shifts on a casual basis. You know what I mean? So then after, I can sort of dictate my day-to-day
You have that
plans.
flexibility.
Like, sort of, do you get what I mean? Like, if the boys were like, if you like, just say an opportunity came up for third income, where it's like, okay, cool, go record this video in London, bang. But then after, the thing is, I've only got like a certain amount, like X amount. Like, I'm down for that, you know what I mean? But then obviously later on, it gets to a time where you got to start being like a bit more conscious.
Yeah, this
Where
is
you got
the thing.
family and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
you know?
that's the trade-off, bro.
Yeah, it is.
You have to be like okay with later on down the line, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't bless you enough in the future, not bless you enough, doesn't bless you with what you expected was gonna be enough for you later on because you made these decisions in the past. You can't like think that it's something's gonna magically appear in your bank account, even though you've made all these decisions. Like it's like, okay, I earn this much, but I spend this much, but then I'm expecting to be able to afford a house.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, where did it all go? This isn't fair. How come this guy can do it? How come that guy can do it? How I should be able to do it as well. I should be making more money. The problem isn't me. The problem is my job's not paying me enough. This is not working. Da, da, da. But it's like, okay, like were you making every possible decision or every conscious decision you possibly could into like pushing in that direction and actually getting to that position. So if you're happy on vibes, no problem, come. When you're 30 years old, inshallah, you have a kid and you're with your wife and you're thinking, I need to get out of rent.
She's got to be on vibes too, though. Just letting her know. She's not on vibes, then you're not keeping up with this lifestyle.
This is what I mean, though. Yeah, like you have to both be okay, calm, no worries. We don't care. It's not too much of a big deal when Abdi Farah comes up to you and goes, cuz, I bought a house, best decision of my life. Now I've got 2, I've got an investment property. I've got A, B, and C, land in the future, inshallah. I'm looking at these prospects. You're like, okay, no worries. MashaAllah, that's your risk.
You know the way that I see it? The way that I see it is like point blank at the end of the day. Like, do you consider yourself as living? Like did you live that day? Did you enjoy that day? You know? And if you can say that when you're looking back, then I rather that than just imagine I had my head down for like 10 years straight, working a job, and then you look back and then after you go, damn, like I could have, because to a certain degree, you don't like going back to like, how much, that's, you know, that point you mentioned for our work week, where it goes, how much could, in terms of X amount of money, could you see yourself as living if you look back at it and you work yourself like back to it? It's like, technically, if you were working a job that paid you $140,000, let's just say in a year, and you don't technically need $140,000 a year, then you've sort of lost when you look backwards, you know? And it's that whole concept of, it's like regretting the time lost, because the more time that you have, in my eyes, is more expensive than the valuables that you sort of have, you know what I mean? But then it also all goes back to what I said earlier on, where it's like, you also got to realize that sometimes the vibes cost money, you know what I mean? Yeah, it will catch up to you at a certain point, because you can't do everything sort of on vibes, you know what I mean? So it's that type of point. But then also part of growing up, you know what I mean, is you still got to be conscious, and the saving kicks in when you have kids, you know? So all of this isn't done without knowledge, you know? Alhamdulillah, because if I was doing this without knowledge, then just a dickhead in the long run.
I honestly think it's starting with asking yourself the tough questions. Like I don't know how common it is to ask these questions. Like, let's use 40 years old, for example. As a 40-year-old looking back at Ali, 27 or whatever age you guys would like to look back at, and you say, are you happy with everything you did? Was there anything you would want to do more? And I'm thinking of like today, for example, for myself, like everything I've done up until today, am I happy with like, this is enough? I can move to 40-year-old Ali with kids, for example, and I can't do, extra solo traveling. I can't go this London trip with the Fade Income boys. Like, these are the top, like, these questions, they sound simple, right, and easy, but then to give it time to think about, it takes longer than you think.
I'll give an example. You went 6 months before last year.
Yeah.
You would have worked full time in that. Yeah. So for example, you make 10K in that time and you spent 10K. Would you lose all of those experiences for 20K in your bank account more right now?
Nah, no chance.
Wait, would you lose?
100%.
Say that again?
Like, would you lose all of those experiences traveling for 20K more in your bank account?
Because it also gives like there's richness in your experiences in them, like with everything else you do in your mind and the type of life you live. Like, I'm only 27. Imagine not having any of these experiences, not just the one I had, but let's just say most of the ones I've had up until today. If I didn't have any of that and I went straight into a full-time job up until today, my richness of mind in terms of experiences, stories to be able to tell, to speak to people, even the people you've met as well, it's just like a whole different. You don't know what you're missing out on. Really.
Wait, so yeah, I would take the 20.
You would?
Yeah, but
Big
look at this.
area,
No,
man.
listen.
Sure.
Just let me land.
yeah.
Now I wouldn't regret it. I'd just take that 20 Chang, keep it pushing, you know?
Then
But
go
then-
again with 20K.
Yeah, exactly. But down the line, when you're like 50, that's when you regret it. You know what I mean? Because when you go tell, like, for example, you're mentioning the story about the peer. Like, I forgot about that for like a complete second. I'm like, what's this guy talking about? But then when you remember it, it's like, okay, like, cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like when you get older, that's when you'll cherish that
Yeah.
down the line, you know?
I think even when you're older, for example, you might, for example, you pass away with 100K. That how long did it? And you, for example, you already gave your money to your kids. You gave them a house. You have 100K extra. Yeah. How long did it take you to save that? If you save $250 or $200 a week, that's 10K a year. It's 10 years of working, extra saving, like the amount of hours you must have put in to save that extra 100K that you didn't get to enjoy.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's like there's so many hours of work where you did late nights, maybe Saturdays, you know, even just working full time and not quitting your job earlier. You know, when you're 61, you're like, should I retire? I'll work a couple more years. You work all of those years that you maybe didn't get to enjoy in your better health,
Yeah.
and you don't get to enjoy the money.
Yeah, we hear it a lot though, yeah? Like even Steve Jobs' story, everyone hears it. Like he worked so long and so hard to become one of the richest people and most influential people in the world. And then he ended up dying before he could actually enjoy the fruits of his labor.
But did he do it for richness, though?
I don't know what he did it for,
Yeah.
to be honest. I can't really judge, but I'm saying he ended up accumulating a lot of wealth,
Yeah.
and because he was such a workaholic, he didn't really have the opportunity to enjoy it. And that was what he said was one of his biggest regrets on his deathbed. So
Wow.
it's like what do we prioritize in this world? And then we all know, but the beautiful thing about us is the deen always grounds us. We always have something to refer back to. The deen always tells us, like, in the end of the day, you're leaving with nothing besides your deeds, and that's it. What did you leave on this earth of goodness and your sadaqah jariyah? I'm not good enough. Don't laugh at the deen, yeah? And then you basically, you want to be left with that, and that's it. Like, your wealth leaves you, your family leaves you, everybody else leaves you. There's nothing left for you in that grave except for your amal. That's it.
I think as a young 20-year-old, like now that I got married at 23, I think you should have a spend intentionally focus before saving.
Yeah.
I saved a lot because 2 years COVID, working full time, no expenses. I saved like 80% of the money I made, which is really good. But if I could have done more, like without COVID, I probably would have. And I look back at when I started working like 9 months, like literally as soon as you could. I worked Macca's 3.5 years until the day before Jordan. I remember I walked into Macca's, here's my resignation letter. Boom, went to Jordan. Spent 10 months there. I spent 7.5K. Okay, that's how much I saved before my Jordan trip. So my 3.5 years of work, Macca's, working $10 an hour, I saved 7.5K. I come back from Jordan, I get a job at Toll and Woolies. You make $1,000 a week working full time. You make it back in 2 months. And that's where your income, like now it's $1,000 a week. It's like, well, it's a lot. Then when you're 30, 35, it's like $1,500 a week. And then it's 2K a week. Your income's only going to keep increasing. And if you have a too big of a savings focus, it's like, imagine you start making 2K a week in 2 years. It's like, bro, my savings, I could double my savings now. And that's where it's like, if you have the opportunity to spend it intentionally on things that are important, like me was going overseas, and for someone else it's a car, or it's, you know, like you should actually spend it. Because if not, you save it. If I save that 7K, well, I'll make it in 2 months. Like, it's really not that deep to me, you know?
Are you doing any of that now? Like so-called like non-guilt
Spending?
splurging on yourself? Or like how does that work now for you?
It's very limited.
Such a white girl thing.
I had to.
I had a brownie.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't feel guilty at all.
Yeah.
I can see that as like a TikTok video.
It's very, very limited. Because, for example, I used to make 100% of your wealth living at home. You might help out with the bills, go eat, shop, 15, 20%.
Yeah.
Now my rent is 40% of my income. Then bills might be another 20. And then you got all the stuff. So 60 to 70% of my income is I don't get to use. It's just to live. Then you got, so if I talk about what I can spend, it's $200 to $300 a week. But before it was all of it, really.
Yeah.
So it's like, what you can just save and plan long term.
But you chose to get married. You were happy to do it.
Alhamdulillah.
All
I don't
these
regret it.
other responsibilities. better
But you
not.
should get a job.
Yeah, there's all these other responsibilities, yeah, that came along with it. So with the territory, there's a trade-off. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. Khalas. You made a decision.
Mm.
You're happy with it. One thing that I actually learned along the way is there's something that if you're not really good at budgeting or you're starting to get to know it and you want to get familiar first, it's called the 50-20-30 rule. I don't know if you guys have seen it before. It's a good way to start. That's something that I use to start and kickstart my savings and my basically breaking up my salary and my pay over time, just to make it easier for me to understand how I should be managing my money. Because in the past, it used to be like, okay, I have a certain amount of money in my bank account. Khalas, you know what? The next paycheck is coming in 2 days. Let me just hammer it. Let me get rid of this. Then the next paycheck will start. We'll start saving after that. And it doesn't, because now I built a habit that I can't sustain. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're like, and just because you make more money now, say for example, you got a pay increase, doesn't mean that you're going to be able to live the lifestyle that you lived before, because different levels, different devils. Now that you got more money, you actually, your quality of life changes, or the way you live, your lifestyle changes. You start to spend more money if you're not conscious, because you believe at the back of your head, hang on, I used to spend this much, I used to be okay. You just get a little bit more. Now you start to spend more, you start to splurge a little bit more. Like that.
Yeah, upgrading your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Splurge. Non-guilt. Yeah.
Not guilty splurge. But yeah, so now you start to adjust your lifestyle, yeah? And you start to increase.
What's 50-20-30? What's 50? What's
Okay,
20?
so-
What's 30?
Basically 50 is going towards your necessities. So your gas, water, electricity bills, if you pay them. For example, I'll put Ashraf as the example here. His rent, his food, his gas, his water, electricity bills, his basic necessities, things to be able to sustain life. Yeah, food, water, shelter. Maybe car repayments, or if he has, for example, insurance, that's what it would go towards. And then you shift whatever is left to 20-30. If it doesn't count, obviously you can adjust based off of the wants and the needs. So the wants and the savings. So the savings would be 20, and the wants would be 30%, because you want to live a lifestyle that's maintainable. You don't want to be unrealistic like people who yo-yo diet, where you go hard in one direction. You say, I'm just going to save all my money and not spend on myself. And then one day you go, you know what, stuff this, man. I'm getting sick of it. I'm just going to spend it all. That's what happens usually. You kind of like, you go from one way of living to another, and then you're like, you know what, I can't do it. Bang, Gucci bag, $6,000, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's because you're holding in an urge that you've had for a long time.
And this worked for you?
It worked a lot, bro.
Alhamdulillah.
I used to have a very big trouble online shopping, especially during COVID.
So
Well,
discipline.
That was a while ago.
So at least now, you like this 30%, I have, for example, $300 a week I can spend on that.
Yeah.
Because some people, like there's a guy, Dave Ramsey. He's got this book, Total Money Makeover. He's got a talk show where people ask him questions and he answers it, And Faisal from Freshly Grounded really loves him. He goes, he's like my financial guru. And he made a YouTube video, Faisal, on how to manage your finances. And he pretty much says every single dollar should have a purpose. But I feel like personally, when you're too strict on the budgeting, it's not manageable long term. Like imagine knowing every single dollar where it goes to, and you could percentage and this and that. Like you want to kind of just know 20%, 30%. I can spend it on whatever I want. 50% is necessity, and it's easier to maintain.
Yeah, for sure.
Like long term, then things don't happen. You can still enjoy your wealth,
Yeah.
and you know you're saving, and you know you're living.
Yeah, but we all know one thing that we spend too much money on, like eating out, or whether it's shoes or clothes, or whatever it is for each person. Like each person's different, obviously. Like, but we all know that one thing that we need to probably chip away at. Like, for example, you don't need Netflix, Stan, Disney Plus, and
Yeah. But regardless, though, it's a good starter. Like, that's like besides the point, Like, it's a good starter for someone who doesn't know how to like sort of control their money. I think later on you get to a point where you get into a rhythm where you're able to be like, okay, cool. There's no harm in having Netflix for a month. You know what I mean? Or there's no harm in like spending a shoe this week. You know what I
But
mean?
the good thing about it also is to look at your current spending habits, and then
Yeah.
you can weed out the stuff that's unnecessary, that's actually causing you financial detriment,
Yeah.
So like, for example, like I was saying earlier, you didn't even know, but $30 every month is going out of my account towards something that I don't even use,
iCloud.
like the gym.
iCloud. No,
iCloud, for
iCloud's the
example.
biggest one.
Or even just coffee every single
No, I
day.
said
but
the
you
gym.
don't-
No. Coffee. Chill out on coffee.
Or
Chill.
coffee, $6 every day.
Yeah.
It's not $6, it's $4.
Oh, I work in the
Nah,
city.
$6, bro.
Oh, you're dying.
Yeah.
Sucks to be you, bro. But
That's a necessity. That's a
for
necessity.
for me, it's not a necessity. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. For you, yeah.
you
So
can
it depends
last
on the
like-
person.
You can last on like Red Bull or something like
No,
that.
no, I have coffee. I'm saying I have it at home. I do.
No, but the
pods
ones, you know, the iCloud
Stuff
ones,
like that.
the iCloud ones are the worst ones. Because tell me why at the end of the month it's got $14 there, $6 there, and $5
bro.
there, and it's like I don't even know half these stuff I was spending. Do you want to know something?
They're dirty,
There was like a VPN which I downloaded when I was overseas, and then after, because there was so many different iCloud like payments or whatever, what ended up happening is I'd get charged $14, $12 or whatever,
Yes, yeah.
and then down the line 4 months later I'm just like what? Which ones are which? Like, because I was like, I swear this storage
Yeah,
for
it doesn't
iCloud.
say details. It,
It
just
doesn't
says Apple.
Yeah, it just says Apple. It says $14.99.
Yeah.
Tell me why for this whole time, because I've got 4 spendings that iCloud takes out. It's YouTube, Spotify,
Okay, sports.
storage. No, sorry, it might be just those 3. It might be just those 3. But there was a 4th one at the time. I wouldn't like it's called Jerry onto it until I realized all of them in a month will take about $70. I'm like, what's this last thing? Guess what it was? It was a VPN that I got when I was in Spain. Yeah, and I was getting it just so that I can access something here in Australia. And then obviously, you know, when you just double tap it, cool. In 3 months, set a reminder. Didn't set the reminder
at the end of the trial. Yeah,
at the end of the trial, and then I had that trial going on for like a long period of time.
I
That's
did that
where
with
they get you, man.
Headspace. Headspace meditation.
Yeah,
I paid the full year.
Oh, you
You
don't
did that with
meditate?
Skillshare, yeah?
Skillshare. I think I accidentally end up paying like another year. I copped the
Lowest.
hard, bro.
They
So-
get you. They play you because you know it says like you can use different emails.
Yeah,
So I used different emails, same mobile number. Took out the money straight away.
yeah.
I emailed them. Bad luck. You already have an account. It's like you guys are the lowest.
See, Binge and KO changed the game. Binge and KO and like HBO, they all like under that
Put it on
same.
Apple. Yeah.
What they do is they use your number. Yeah. So then, you
yeah.
can't change your email. So Netflix, you can just change your email, keep getting a free trial, get a free trial. Then they use your number, so they know next time you want to sign up,
Yeah.
you've
Because
only
you got
got
to do the tech stuff. Yeah.
yeah. Unless you're like that bored to go to Optus and go get like a number. You know what I
You
mean?
deserve it if you do that.
But you know
Plus-
another thing that I realized.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to end
We're
it
gonna
there?
miss Salah, bro.
We got 20. So let's go.
Yeah, we can wrap it there then.
No,
So
Oh, we
last
got
thing.
24 Salah, yeah. I was just going to say this, the whole thing about like one thing, you know, when we were talking was how much of a blessing savings is,
Oh,
you know, because like, you know, like you go to other sides of the
Yeah.
world and like when we actually realize how like grateful it is for us to look at the end of the month or at the end of our paycheck, we can go 20% can go to, let me just put it aside for a later date, you know what I mean? Or for something that I want to invest into, you know?
You never know, bro. And also, your circumstances could change. Like for
Mm.
example,
Yeah.
you wanna leave your job, or for something happen in your family or in your life, or you just need that extra kind of like that cushion. you know?
Emergency
need-
fund.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You need
Right.
an emergency fund. You need something for
Right.
a rainy day,
That's
bro.
good. Then maybe we can end on that note. If you, because of this extra disposable income we're lucky to have, we should be putting money aside for like sadaqah or giving back, even if it's a small percentage.
Oh yeah. You
You
don't
know?
lose money, mate.
$1
Yeah.
a day, huh?
Yeah, $1 a day, even just pick like sponsor an orphan or
Hey,
something.
sponsor me, guys. Like, I'll just give you my cash out.
yeah,
Cash
give it
out.
now.
Well,
Pay
this-
ID, give your number. Pay ID. خلاص, like,
04. Subscribe to Fair Income right now. We'll see you guys in next week's episode.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.